Welcome, friends and fellow horse fiends. You've landed on Come Ride With Me, a podcast dedicated to helping you find harmony, joy, and success in your riding. I'm your host, Anna Fox of Equus Enlightened. This pod isn't about training your horse, but about training you to be the best partner for your horse. Listen to find out how I use my intention to direct my ride. You'll hear how I decide what to focus on, what to say yes to, and when to redirect my horse. You'll see how not getting frustrated or overwhelmed is the easiest path to sanity and harmony. So, what are you waiting for? Come ride with me. Hey gang, Anna Fox with Equus Enlightened, and welcome back to Come Ride With Me. Again, I've got Namaste, and last episode I had an idea of what we could do for this episode, and I thought he was the perfect candidate to demonstrate. That's going to be yo-yoing, and this was a principle that was introduced to me by some wonderful Pirelli horsemen. And the concept with yo-yo is that you can sort of bring your horse back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just like a yo-yo. Initially it starts out, get your horse away from you, bring your horse back to you, and it's kind of a give and take. But the idea of it, and with all of the Pirelli games, if you're familiar with any of the Pirelli natural horsemanship, they've got basic games, and the idea is that those basic games grow with you. Nami's over here eyeing up the llamas across the street. So the basic games grow with you, and you start out with these basic concepts, and then as your level of training and your needs develop, the game develops as well. So we're going to show some different levels of the yo-yo with him, and one of the things I really like this exercise for is working on that longitudinal suppleness over the back, teaching the horses how they can shorten and lengthen their spines, how they can articulate their joints to make that happen and get themselves out of the way. Now there's something, my shoes at the mounting block. Go check that out because we didn't see it before. Nami is he's a curious dude. That's good though. There's things about horses that we don't want to discourage, really. There's a boundary, but I also don't want to discourage him from being curious, because that's a good quality. It's going to come in handy later. So, of course, with this yo-yoing, we may, with this horse, see a couple other principles that we talked about in the previous episodes come into play. I mean, for instance, that, and right now, letting him still look at the llamas, who are actually a part of his own farm, and they're here every day, but whatever. Letting him look at those things, right? That goes back to our concept of leading and following. So if you haven't watched that episode, or you haven't listened to that episode yet, you may want to check that one out. We'll probably work with the basic alignment exercise a little bit, which is what we did last week, and or rather 2 weeks ago in our last riding episode. And then we'll also probably work with the phases of the aids. And the good thing about teaching all of those things, phases of the aids, basic alignment, before you get into this yo-yo, is that now you can start to work on things separately, and then you can start to combine them, and you can start to feel like the whole thing come together as you do that. A yo-yo is even a great way to start out a ride while I'm just walking him around. I'm going to see, can I get him kind of nice and stretchy at the walk? And when I think of a stretching posture, I think of, what is that horse that's out in the field grazing, and then they go for a walk to look for another place to graze, look to forage somewhere else? What does that posture look like? And normally it's pretty much like this. And this is actually a relaxed posture for a horse, but it's also a power posture, because it's out there that's showing that this ligament up here, the nuchal ligament that we like to see kind of being loose and floppy and bouncy, you can see it right here. I know he's really dark, so it may not be the best view when my whip is dark. But that ligament, science is actually showing that that's where horses store their energy. That's where they're storing their power. In case of a flight need, right? As a prey animal, they may need to run away from something. So that's, as they're eating, they're storing all that energy up in their necks. And then they can, boom, take off. So when we think about a horse going in a nice, relaxed, stretching posture, that's what I think about. I think about that ligament being loose and flexible and being able to store energy, to build up energy. Because also, yo-yoing is very much like coiling a spring. And if you're familiar with dressage, I'm sure you've heard that term more than once, and you've been told to coil the spring and all these half halts and whatever, and make those things happen. But this is the concept. This is how conceptually that works. So just as I'm walking and he's stretching well, I'm going to test a few things. I'm going to test his go button. And the fact that he's breathing and snorting is good, right? That means he's relaxed. He's like, okay, I can go. Good boy. But I don't know if you noticed that when he did, he kind of, he got all crooked and his neck went. So, okay. So I can go, but I'm not totally aligned. Good. So the go button's there. That's what we like. Good job, buddy. But it's maybe not as straight as it could be. That's okay. And you can, if you have a horse that does not relax well in the walk or in any gait, use that basic alignment exercise to help you. The other thing that you can do is, if you're not really sure, like, why is what alignment would make my horse want to stretch down? What would offer them some relaxation? A lot of times you can start with a simple haunches out, right? And then go, right? And little haunches out, bang, go. And you see right there, he kind of gave and went. And if your horse, this is a part of phases of the aids. So if your horse is not particularly responsive, if you go, can you go? Oh, a little bit of haunches out. And he's like, I don't know if I could do that. Then that's something that you want to work on standing still initially. And I can show you a little bit. And now I have walkers that Nami can look at. So we can come up here and work on our phases a little bit while they walk on by. Okay, so if I wanted to get him to go, maybe this would be perfect because he's a little distracted. So I want him to step his haunches that way. I'm just going to say, put my leg back a little bit. Oh, good boy. I would say that was like a phase 3 because he's a little distracted. That's fine. I can shorten it up. I can use my hip. And I always think about looking, like I was actually looking at his hip. And when I start horses doing this, I do actually look at their hip. Then I bring my leg back, and then I might go tap, 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 tap. right? He's distracted, so still taking a minute. But as I refine it, I kind of think my ear goes there. And then he just does it because he knows the game. So let's try the other way. Ear to the hip. My leg is back. He's not doing anything. Still looking at the people walking. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Right? But if like that was his normal reaction every day, it would be kind of hard for me to ask for him to go haunches out in one direction. And most horses, it's good, they're going to be more, it's going to be easier for them in one direction than another. And if he starts going backwards, that's fine. One of the things that's very fun is if you can get your horses really sharp to this, you can actually train a little bit of pee-off. Some horses do it easier than others, kind of just getting them to dance back and forth between their hind legs, but, right? So now we're back, we're stretching again. Let's see how our go button is to the left and if we're straight, because we know he likes to be, a little less straight going to the left, but today he's pretty on it, which that tells me that the work I did the other day was beneficial, right? Because he's remembered. So, perfect. Okay, so again, if I don't have a stretchy horse, I can think, where do I feel like I could make that basic alignment exercise? I could make him be a little straighter. I can also think, can I do a little haunches out? Which I'm going to ask him right now. Can we do a little haunches out? But towards the camera and then stretch down. Yeah, good. So now he's stretchy. He's freely forward in his walk. I'm just going to go, can I shorten up my reins? And when I do this the first time, not going to use my leg, not going to do anything. I'm just going to shorten up my reins and see what happens. And he stopped. It's totally fine. I'm going to hang out here. And I'm going to wait. Maybe he's thinking the people that were walking down the road will jump up. As soon as he releases to me, we're going to go forward again. Okay. Good. Now I'm going to shorten again. See what happens. He came a little bit to me, and then he halted. Totally fine. Okay. Yeah. I want to keep those transitions snappy, right? I want to keep him lightly off my aids. Number one, because I want to show him that this exercise is not about slowing him down. This exercise is about him showing him how he can compress his body, change his spinal alignment, and not change his rhythm. And so now he's like, oh, okay. So he stopped a little bit, so I'm just going to encourage him to go forward. Go boy. And then give him a long rein again. As soon as we go walking, again, I'm not going to discourage the forward, like never discouraging a forward, even on a forward thinking horse. I may just be a little quicker to bring them back, but I'm not going to be upset about it. So now, kind of understanding what we're doing. If he feels like he's going to slow down, I'm just going to add my leg, right? My leg's loose though. Add my leg a little bit, right? Last time, that's him in a longitudinal flexion. Totally cool. That's what we're here to show him that he can do. So I get him up there, and how much you get him, how much you collect him, how much you shorten up his frame, really going to depend on your horse's level and your level at the time that you're doing this. And it's going to evolve over time, right? When you start out, you're not going to get very far, right? Probably not even going to get his head necessarily higher. Try to stay off the rail here for you guys. Good. But he's learning to come up a little bit more into a more collected posture. So, yeah, good, 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 good. And then I'm going to get right back. Again, just like we talked about in the last episode, I don't want to be maintaining. I don't want to be making him maintain these things that he's just learning for a long period of time, because that makes him resent doing it for me, right? It gets hard. He's weak in it. It's not great. Okay. So I come up. My legs are quiet right now. Yeah, they're sticking off. But as I shorten, there, he shortened a little bit. So I'm like, okay, just let's keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Good, 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 good. Yeah. I'll try again in this direction. Apparently, I forgot to talk here, so I'll try to help you guys out who aren't watching the video. But we are going to the right, which is Namaste's easier direction. And I am just, again, bringing him up into a little bit more collected posture at the walk. The right is always easier for him, so I don't have to do much in this direction. And I can let him come up and then hold him for a few steps and encourage him to stretch over his back and get a little rounder in the posture, which is a little harder for him in the other direction. I really didn't have to encourage him very much to go there, right? He stayed very much forward thinking while I'm bringing up my reins, and that's what I want. Good boy. Now, depending on where we were in our workout and where we are in our training, we could go from this position right to trot and see how that is. But since we've just started and we're warming up, I'm not going to do that. So rather than ask him to go into a trot, right into a collected trot, I'm going to go ahead and see. Oh, can we go? Yeah, good boy. I really just thought go there. Right? And he's pretty straight, which that makes me think, or it shows me that what I did last time, what I've been working on, is helpful, because he's figuring it out. Good. And so, trot a little bit. If he comes up like he did there, it gets a little inverted, I might do little haunches out. Come, come, come. Get your butt out a little bit. There we go. Come back into the stretch. Now, of course, with this horse, if I was going left, I might actually make that left banana. And I'm a little more supple to the left. But it's a little hard for him to keep his balance yet in the turns. Totally normal. And especially when I'm not helping him. You know, this is me letting him figure it out. We'll go a little, yes, banana-y. And he wants to go forward. I love that. He's like, yeah, let's go. And the breathing's fantastic. Again, losing our balance a little bit. Let's go a little banana. Come on. So rather than really make his banana, he kind of got faster going down that long side. And then we see the same problem. He stretched out a little bit going down the long side, but then we see the same problem crop up in the next corner where he's not quite balanced. Banana. And he has to bring his head and neck up. Out. So we go back to the banana, and this time it works better. Good. Can I pick up my reins with the trot? Oh, and right away. It's a little slow. That's okay. Now, what I could do here is go, okay, I get it. Especially if this is in the beginning of this exercise with a horse. It's the first time you've done it, first couple times you've done it, whatever. Walk. Go, okay, can I get this? Oh, good. Can we get that? Yeah. Then let's give a little bit and go back to the trot. Make sure my alignment's there. If I'm not straight, it's going to be really hard to do this. Right? So, okay. Now, can I pick you up again? Now with him this time, if he slows down a bit, I'm going to remind him that he can go. That he can push through this. You see his head comes up a little bit. It's a little bit inverted. That's okay. We're just going to keep working it. He's like, aha, yeah, good. And as soon as he offered to relax his neck, right, and go, okay, that's where I was kind of holding. Because I can feel him bringing his shoulders up. I can feel him dropping his butt down a bit. But he holds attention a little bit in his neck and in his pole, right? So there I'm just reminding him, you can go, you can go. And I'm just gonna hang with him, just holding a bit and not pulling, right? I'm not pulling back. I'm not fighting him. I'm simply holding and I'm allowing. And then we're gonna go stretching. Oh, such a beautiful trot. Again, I'm not holding and maintaining this stuff for a long time because holding is tension. Now again, if I could go, let's walk. Let's walk. Let's get your butt a little more under. Let's get those hind feet. Thinking a little faster. Come, come, come. Come, come, come. And I'm not worrying about what his head's doing. Remember, I'm still thinking, even though I'm collecting him a little bit, I'm still thinking about that relaxed, powerful, grazing posture where his nose is a bit out in front. And that means I can see the top part of my bridle. I can see the crown piece of the bridle. And if I can't see the crown piece, then I've lost that. So here, it's a little bit, yeah, there he goes. He's like, okay, I think I can do it. So now I'm gonna say, okay, can we go trot from this position? Yeah, good boy. Good boy. Yeah. And then I'm gonna let him relax again. Now what this does is this is like working out. When I was back in my athletic training days, and I still do this in my own personal workout routines. If you have trouble, if you're weak in a movement, you can work at both ends of that movement and build the strength so that you can be strong throughout the movement. Sometimes you can even work in the middle of a range of motion. It just depends. But so that's what we're doing here. So I worked it from the relaxed trot up into the more collected trot. Good boy. The walkers are back. So I'm going to let him stop, let him have a look. Okay, so now we've done that. We've worked a little bit the connected posture into the trot, going to the right. Now we'll try to the left. See how we make out. Oh, I know, they're walking. They're still walking. Gone from sight. Just a minute. But you can still pay attention, just a little bit. That's only, like, I'm not going to be upset. You know, this is part of my spooky episode. I'm not going to be super upset with him for looking at something. But I am going to say, hey, do you think you could pay a little bit of attention here? Good. Yeah. So now we're here. Could we go trotting? Could we? Yeah, we could. Oh, very nice. Good boy. Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, tuck in his butt a little bit. Look at you, fancy pants. So now, of course, he's done this. And then he tells me, okay, I need to stretch. That's fine. I was just going to say he's done this exercise a few times. So I could maybe play around a little bit in the posture and show you. And we can see what happens as we play with different movements, different postures, what happens. So we'll try that now. I'm going to go yo-yo him up in the walk. Because again, obviously this is a little bit of a weak point for him. So I'm just going to play with it. We're playing. Conducting an orchestra here. Good boy. Yeah. Now, could I ask you to do a little bit of the shoulder in? Oh, I know it's hard. I know it's hard here. I know. Oh, yes. Oh, could we go a little round there? Oh, yes, we could. Oh, and then let's go try. Yeah, and then we'll give a stretch again. And if I'm really paying attention, I'm feeling now, it's a little bit that was a little bit his max, right? Asking him, and he got a little tired. I'm going to push him a little bit. I'm going to push him to do one more thing. Push him, see if he can do a little half pass. Have to be anything spectacular. I just want to see, can he keep it together and do that? And he said, yeah, I can. It was hard. I had to think about it, but I could do it. All right? So now, break. Now, can we shorten up from the right trot? Yeah, good. And just playing with these lateral movements is really playing with his lateral flexibility, but then his longitudinal flexibility within them. Okay, so what we're doing as I'm bringing him up in the trot and then asking him to do some lateral movements or just shift his weight, doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's just testing that longitudinal suppleness, good boy, in, as we ask for the lateral suppleness. That's sometimes a hard thing. And so at the walk, this one's tricky. Let's see. If we can go a little haunches in. Good. Precursor to a walk pirouette there. Very nice. And now let's see what happens if we go back to trot. Yeah. It's like a little stack. It's fine, right? So do something fairly easy, should be for him anyway. Leg yield. Gosh, that's a little hard distraction. Yeah. What about if we go walking? Oop. And then can we go haunches in? Oh, how lovely. Good boy. So that's all fine and good stuff we can play with at the walk and the trot. Now, we go to the canter. This again be based off your level of confidence with your horse, level of training, level of relaxation, level of all those things. You can, again, start from any which direction, whatever you want to play with. You want to start out with relaxed? Do you want to start out with a little more collection? Kind of depends on, for one, where your confidence is with your horse. Like, do you feel confident that you can canter off on a long rein safely? If you don't feel like that, then don't do it. But it may be something to work towards, and you can do that through working this exercise backwards. But if you do feel that, then you can work on this nice, relaxed, clean canter, and then work on lifting it up. That's what we'll start with showing you with him, and then we'll try it the other way and show you how that could work too. So, and if you're just listening to the podcast, perfect. Just listen, because you can also learn a lot, because we're going to go for a nice, relaxed, prompt walk to canter depart. You could do it from the trot. It's totally fine. Again, this is up to you and how you feel about your horse's level of training, confidence, skill, whatever. This horse is capable of doing it. He just has to be reminded. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. No jiggity jig. From the walk, please. Oh, so close, so close. Boop, boop. But again, I could go, oh, well, my whole purpose of this podcast is not to show you how to get better walk canter transitions out of relaxation. It's about the yo-yo. But here's the thing. I'm teaching him all the time what I want him to do and what I don't want him to do. And so I'm going to fix this before we move on. Sorry if you don't want me to, but we are. Yep, there we go. And because we've done our homework, it doesn't take a lot to fix it, but there, good. Now, he likes to get a little bit too long and deep in the canter sometimes. So I will just show you when I make the turn here. Float my hands up and say, boop, boop, can you come here? Yeah, there we go. Great. So what I want to do now is because obviously he can canter in that relaxed posture. Same thing here, right? He's getting a little bit behind me. He's struggling a little bit. Ooh, ooh. Okay, so I can do two things here. I can go ahead and trot like we are. Get this. It's taking him a little bit though to get back into the groove. So I'm going to go ahead and walk. I'm going to try some alignment. Play around a little bit. See if I can figure out where we lost it. Now I'm going to do the opposite thing. I'm going to go canter from here. Yeah, good. It's a little bit easier for him. So, if you have a horse that this is the case, I'm going to go here. And then, oh, but can you stretch out? You don't have to let them go far. If they start to speed up or they start to plow down, lift again. Okay, so now we got him back up and then took a walk break. Ooh, boy. And now we're going to see if we can go into the canter from that little more collected position. And then keep him a little bit collected and go into a smaller circle. I'm not going to hold it very long, like thinking towards Volta or schooling pirouette. Now this is hard for him, and this is one of his struggles, would be that little break right there, because that longitudinal strength is not there yet. So I could again do what I did earlier, trot or walk, get it back, and then go right back into the canter. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go. If you'll stay in the canter for me, I'm going to ask for that. Good boy. Good. Good job. Good man. Boom, boom, boom. He holds that well. I bring him out. I don't let him stop right away, which is another option if it's hard for your horse. But for this horse, because he tends to think he can stop in that moment, I'm going to let him out, let him stretch and canter on a little bit
and then we'll come back to the walk.
Good boy. So just having him hold that in that smaller circle, in that canter, that yo-yo, and then allowing him to come out. Because his thing is when he gets there and then you allow him to go again, he wants to stop. Like, he's like, oh, I can't expand my spine again. So I want to teach him that he can come and go and extend his spine. And so, by asking him to go forward again, now, one of the fun things that you can do if you have a horse that's at this level of collection, and even if you don't, even if you have a horse that you're working on doing relaxed canter departs and then bringing them up, you can try this too. Make your circle a bit smaller. And when you do it, you want to kind of have an idea of what is the smallest circle that's comfortable for your horse, right, in a certain posture. So, if it's 20 meters, it's 20 meters on a long rein, let's say. Maybe it's 15 or 10, whatever. But so I'm going to leave him on a loose rein here. We're going to get him on like a 15 meter, maybe in between 15 and 10. But get him on there, and we're going to go, bump, bump. Can you canter? Yeah, you can. Good boy. And that will often, if they can hold that circle, awesome. If they can't, allow the circle to get bigger, right? And then when you get, you can either try to collect them up a little bit. You can just go back to walk, and then make your, right? Oh. You are working both ends of the spectrum. So I can start in here and go bigger. I can start bigger and come in. And if I start bigger and I come in, we'll try that in a little collected posture with him. If we start bigger and we come in, we come in, he's like, this is hard work today, I don't know. And that's fine. I'm just gonna say, come on. Come. I'm gonna reestablish my go button first. Number one. Then we can work out the rest. Okay. Right. Good. Now, I'm gonna say, on a bit bigger circle and being collected. Could you go canter? Yes, I could. Thank you. Very nice. Now, can we make it smaller? We can't. It's hard for him. He's like, oh, I don't know, especially in this direction. So I don't mean to annoy you clucking, but I want to make sure he knows that he can do it. He can do it. He can do it. It's going to be hard, but he can do it. He can do it. He's a superstar. Good boy.
And this time I did let him stop and walk after that little collected canter circle, whereas in the other direction, I had him keep going. And that's just the difference in which direction it's harder for him.
And obviously, I don't expect your first times doing the yo-yo to be this smooth and to be able to do, these small circles and all this. But I want you to, I want to show you, I want you to hear where the development of it comes from. So initially, you're just going to start out lengthening, shortening your reins, doing it from a gate into another gate, from a gate down to another gate. It's just, and it seems like this may be tedious and this may be monotonous, but if you're a perfectionist about it and you also treat it like a game, but you treat it like a game that you need to get perfect so that all your basics are in a row to get you to doing more complicated stuff, it will not be monotonous. There's so many ways that you can work these exercises that you can always be thinking of new things. So now I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say, can you give me a little haunches in, a little walk pirouette? Yeah. Good. He's a little stuck there, but it's okay. See if we can go canter from that. Good. Yeah, good. Now I'm going to allow him to make the circle bigger. Yeah, and then I'm going to allow him to stretch a little bit too. I'm going to remind him, you can keep that hiney moving. You can go. You can do it. You can do it, dude. You can do it. I know it's hard, but you can. Good. Come on. Oh, goodness. Now what if I shorten up my reins again? Oh, my God. So hard. But you can do it. You can do it. You're a big man. You can do it. You can. Oh, you can. You got it. Good. Come on. Then I might let him go. Big canter somewhere. Let's go.
Again, using that yo-yo concept. So he came back. Now we're going to go out a little bit. Then we're going to come back again. Go out a little bit. And he starts to kind of play around. I start to play around with what he's capable of. And then he starts to play, and he gets a little bit where he wants to start breaking into his trot. And he knows things like his changes, but they're not perfect. There are things like that. So right now, I'm just going to kind of play with him and, see after that work, like, is he still feeling like he's playful? Is he still feeling like he could go on with me and do some more? He does trot on me a few times, and I'm just like, oh, and keep going. Make a different thing happen. And I don't get upset about it, right? Because I'm going to take what he offers me and use that somehow. The point in using the yo-yo to help you build that strength, build that communication with your horse, and then there's this play aspect that I feel like actually helps you find the places to be with your horse and where your horse is good at something, where you're good at something, rather than always trying to hold onto a frame, hold your position in a certain way, etc. And a lot of times, like, you might see that my reins are pretty long. It's easy to have happen when you're doing this yo-yo thing. There's not a lot of tension on them when you see them longer. I'm usually just holding them up so that if I do need to use them, I can use them quickly. And that is a great test of your own balance, because a lot of people are accidentally balancing on their horse's mouths. So if you can keep the rein long, let the rein, give that horse that stretch, that moment, and hold it, and hold your own balance, and not need their mouth, that's a great way to test yourself too. And it'll make your horse much happier in the end, and make them willing to play around with you and do silly things, which will eventually get you to the place where you want to be. After all, this is supposed to be fun, right? I hope this helps you. Happy riding.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Come Ride With Me. My goal is to demonstrate to riders that we don't have to do something every second of a ride. We don't have to do things a certain way or at a certain time. Just staying present with your horse and gathering non-judgmental information about how they are going is way more beneficial than overthinking and overworking. If you'd like to learn more about what I do at Equus Enlightened, you can find me at equisenlightened.net or on patreon.com/equisenlightened. You can also find me on social media as Equus Enlightened. I will put all the links in the show notes. And until next time, happy riding. Oh, before you go, please remember to rate, review, and share this pod so others can find it.
I would love constructive criticism, but like my mom used to say, if you don't have anything really nice to say, there's no need to say it. Just ride on, my friends. Have a great week.